Okay, so continuing on, we're going to basically go over to page 425, and let me just open up the program, and then we'll discuss it. So it's called the same array, and I open it, and so let's take a look at it. So we basically create an array. So int left and right square bracket says this is an array. It's going to be called array 1, and I go ahead and initialize it with the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then I go ahead and create a second array, again int, so it's an ice cube tray that only holds integers, and I'm going to go ahead and make this array equal to array number 1. Now this is where it gets kind of tricky, because down here I say array 0 equals, so this is how we can set just one element of the array. So array 0, so in this case it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different elements, 0 through 4, and I'm saying element 0 for array 1 I'm going to equal to 200. Array 2, element 4, the last element, I'm going to make it equal to 1000. And then I go ahead and say for int. Now this is the new for loop. This is the new for loop I was talking about previously. Look at this. I say for int value array 1. Wow, what is that doing? Well, that basically says go through all of the different elements in that array. So basically int value, that says grab the value. So in this case it's an integer array, so I'm telling it this is an integer array, and put all of the elements one at a time into this variable called value. So here is int, and here's my variable out value, which is an integer, and then it says array colon array 1. That says go through this loop and go to the very first element, which is element 0 of array 1, and basically do whatever you need to do with that value. So put it into the variable value, and then go through the loop one more time, grab the next element. So in this case here, we don't have to basically create an index and basically do all that sort of thing and increase the index by 1. I'm just telling it grab all the elements from this array one at a time and throw it into this variable and execute it. So a lot cleaner. So systemout.print value plus space. Okay. Now notice it's a print. Remember we talked about print and print line? Print says it's going to print it on one line. Since there's no print line on there, it's not going to drop down a line. So in this case we're going to have value space, value space, value space, value space. And then it basically, I take it back. Now we do a print line. Oh, no, that's outside of the loop. That's outside of the loop. So here's the loop, because here's our semicolon, and this is outside of the loop. Okay, then I basically do the same thing for array 2. Now, notice array 1, for the very first element is 200, and array 2, the very last element, is 1000. So let's run it, and then we'll talk. So I go ahead and see, same array, run as a Java application. So contents of array 1 is 4, 6, 8, and 1000. So up here it was 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. Array 1, I changed the very first element to 200. Well, it changed it there. I changed the very last element of the array 2 to 1000. Well, look at that. Array 1 and array 2 are identical. And that's exactly what happened. We really don't have two different arrays. When I said array 2 is equal to array 1, what I've done is I just created I'm going to call it a new name tag for array 1. So whatever changes I make to array 2 are going to be this. It's basically array 2 is pointing to array 1. Okay? So array 2 and array 1 are the same exact array. They're not any different. So it's basically one array with two different names. So whatever changes I make to array 1, same thing to array 2, because again they're pointing to the same exact array. So how would we get around that? Well, what we could do is this. Let me go ahead and comment that out. Well, you know what, let me see. Okay, never mind. So let me duplicate that line, and I'm going to say so again, I broke my own rule again. Just bear with me. I put a 5 in there. So here's what I've done. I've created an array with the same exact number of elements. Okay. So now here's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to create a for loop like this. And I'm going to say yeah, I'm going to need to do that. I'm just going to need to do a regular. Okay, so now I'm going to say array 1 value, I'm sorry, array 2 value is equal to array 1 value. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking one array, element of my element, and placing it to the other one. So now we truly have two separate arrays. And when I get done right here after this for loop, both those will have the same exact data in it. They'll both have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So now when I basically make this array 0 equal to 200 and this array 2, 4 equal to 1000, watch what happens. So let me save it. Let me go ahead and run it. And voila, look at that. Array 1 has 200 in the 0, okay? And array 2 has 1000 in the last. So now we truly have two separate arrays. So just realize that. If you make one array equal to the other array, they are truly not equal. They're both the same exact array. It just has two different names. Okay. So let's take a look at pass elements. And so here we have int. So I've created an integer array, and the name of that array is called numbers, and I went ahead and loaded it with some data. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements in this array, 0 through 7. And I say for index equals 0, and while the index is less than numbers.length, so while it's less than 8, because there's 8 elements, I'm going to do this loop. And each time I go through the loop, I'm going to increase the index by 1. So show value numbers index. So the show value, since it's in italices, tells me that it is a method down below. And sure enough, there's show value. So I'm passing in one item at a time. So here I am, I'm taking the element at that index and passing it down there. Now here's what's kind of strange. There I've got int in. Notice it's not an array because I'm passing just one element of that array to the show value method. So down here I say system out print in plus space. So it's going to basically print all those numeric values in a row. So if I were to go ahead and run this, it basically puts in 5, 10, 15, all the way up to through 40. So it basically does this line. And since it's not a print line, it's going to keep it on the same exact line. That's what the space does. Okay, so kind of neat. I grab one element from the array, pass just that one element to the method, and then basically do something with it. Now here's something that's really, really, really powerful, and this is where I can pass an entire array to a method. So here